We flipped a coin, okay? You and me. You and me. Coin flip is sacred.
Y'all ready for a show today, baby? Go time, baby.
We've been waiting all week for this. This is where it happens right here, man. We man up, we stand up. We man up, we stand up. We all we got. We all we got. We all we got. We all we got. We all we got.
Hit anything that moves. We're playmakers, man. We the best, nothing less.
You don't like this? Trust me, you don't like it.
We're between the white lines. This is football. Welcome to the big league. I won the toss. I took the football. Drive it down that throat.
Are you out of your mind? Are you out of your skull?
Hey, every season is full of defining moments. Let's make this day a defining moment for us in our quest.
Game time! Game time!
Welcome, everybody, to the Coin Flip, Week 2 of the 2022 NFL season. It is a lunchtime Thursday for me. Going to get the pod in on my lunchtime right now, then get back to day job work for a little while, and then fire up some showdown lineups for tonight. Looking forward to reading Ryan's article. Very weird. Well, you talk about expect the unexpected for showdowns. The first three have been very unique game scripts, the way everything played out. And then, Broncos, everybody thinks they're going to murder Seattle, wind up losing. Shouldn't have. Fumbles, all that kind of stuff, weird ending. But, man, that's why we play. That's why they play the games. And hopefully week 2 can go. It was weird. So week 1 was a week where I'm normally not going to do very well, and didn't do very well. Although my projections, the guys that I had ranked very, very high, number 1, number 2, number 1, all did well. So the projections were great. I just I avoided the wrong chalk for the most part. Definitely didn't have any Mahomes. The Kelsey deal. I had a lot of great pieces that allowed me to get some money back, but didn't play Hurts or Mahomes. So that kind of takes you out. Had tons of Jefferson. Loved him. I think Sunday morning I said, and maybe even wrote it up in one of the articles, that he'll be the number 1 wide receiver of the week. And he was. So good parts, bad parts. It's one of those, kind of cop-outs where you go, trust the process. And I know some people go, well, process losing, why trust it? When I reviewed it all, and I didn't do the review pod this week just because we had some different things going on. I normally will do that on Tuesdays. Mainly we had so much, it always sneaks up on us, of behind the scenes stuff and things that we have to update for the brand new PGA season. So it kind of threw things off about a half a day. And next week I may try to do it on Monday earlier. I like to get the Monday Night Football game in, but because I travel next week, I'm gone Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I get back like midnight Thursday night. Everything will still be out content-wise. No issues there. It's President's Cup for PGA. I've already got that tool. I pulled it up a few days ago to make sure it was ready to go, our little President/Ryder Cup tool that I do. Not really a lot of content around there. It's more about, strategy. We'll get into that more, though, when that comes around. Looking forward to this week. Very, I don't want to say unique week, but, a lot of powerful teams, high-scoring teams are on the 4 single slates. So tonight, Chargers, Chiefs. I don't know who the Sunday night game is. And then 2 games on Monday night. So I was wrong on that. I know they didn't do it. I mean, I said they didn't do it last week. I thought they kind of got rid of that, but for whatever reason, they are doing it this Monday night with the doubleheader. So let's see here. Obviously, Chargers, Chiefs tonight. That should be action-packed game. Sunday night, Bears at Packers. 2 teams with surprise results from last week. Titans at Bills is the early game Monday, and then Vikings at Eagles. So, Hurts, Mahomes, Herbert, Allen, some pretty big quarterbacks, and then you got Jefferson. He scores a lot. Derrick Henry, gone off the slate. So definitely, in general, most times that'll spread some stuff out. It could concentrate ownership on a few guys where everybody's like, well, this is the guy I got to play now because there's just not many options. We'll get through all that here shortly. If you would like to join the site, A lot of new subscribers, a lot of guys re-upping for fall or football season. College football has been doing really well. Looking forward to the slate this weekend on that. A little 2-game slate. It starts tomorrow night. Use Coin, 20% off, includes a 7-day risk-free trial. Don't like it? You can cancel anytime, first 7 days, never see a charge. Rate and review us on iTunes. We'll be doing giveaways. I was going to do them on this one, but I think what I'll do is that Monday kind of show, just so everybody who may have not been around last week and all that, we'll get everything in. I'll announce them on Monday's pod, whether it be, I'll probably do like a preview pod of the week review / smash factor type deal. And then again on the coin flip, I'll say them again. Same winners. I'll just do it on both so that you guys, whoever listens to which one, you'll get the winners and all the prizes for that. But we will do more giveaways. So go ahead and rate and review us if you haven't. If you forgot, go ahead and do it again. It still counts, helps us out. Subscribe and like this video on YouTube. Tell me your favorite wide receiver under $7,000 this week in the comment section. That'll get you into the next drawing that we do. Probably look to do like a drawing like Thanksgiving week. I always like that week. We get the big slate, Black Friday. So maybe we give away some cash, stuff like that. And then then we always do the big ones for the majors on golf. I kind of went through all last week, really. Betting wise, I think I went 1-2, and then I lost the little round robin parlay deal that I put out there. College football wise, I went 4-3, 4-2. I think I had a tie in there. 7-5 on the season. So I think 4-2 and 3-2, or 4-3, 3-2 is the first 2 weeks, something like that. 7-5 on college football, so we're profitable there right now. We'll try to keep that rolling. I am more selective on the college football games as I've changed my process there. And then NFL, slow starting out. Had a lot. I did say expect the unexpected, and we saw a lot of upsets, survivor pools. All the ones that I'm in and all the ones I've seen got murdered. But it was just weird. You get 10 road favorites. You kind of knew something was gonna happen. I don't know if I could have predicted that much chaos, especially survivor pool wise. I did have a bunch of Ravens, so that those teams made it through. So I'm still alive in several. The Bengals and Broncos were my other two. Those are only 3 teams I picked last week throughout all the survivor pools I had. So those guys hurt me. We'll go through the playbook like normal. I'll talk about my stacks, favorite, whether it be Super Contest, Circa Millions lines that I like this week, as of now, Upset of the Week, Survivor of the Week, and then I'll give my prize pick Underdog Plays of the Week as well. 12-game slate, as I mentioned, two games on Monday night, so one less game this week. I think it's an 8-4 split, 8 a.m., 4 p.m., I think. As one thing as I got on, I realized I didn't even review the full schedule deal. That's my bad. Let me let's see. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7. So 7 and 5 is how they're splitting it this week. That makes it a little bit better. I like having 5 in the afternoon. A little more games, a little more action going on. 2 double-digit favors. Both are home. That is the Rams and the Broncos. 4 road favorites this week: Colts, Bucks, Pats, and Bengals. Quarterbacks, we'll start there with the plays. I still don't see anybody going to be super high owned. I don't have anybody over 12% right now, 11, 12%. I like Murray. I think it's a good bounce back spot. I'm hoping that the price and he's on the road will kind of keep that ownership down. It's a little bit of a risk reward because it's like, all right, is what we saw last week kind of the norm? Is it just a bad week? They're going to come back, good bounce back spot, buy low, all that kind of stuff. You'll hear that a lot this week in the industry. And, I'll talk about it too. There are some good, buy low, sell high type of deals, overreaction from one game in the NFL type of deal. And I'm hoping that's this. I think Murray, I'm expecting Ertz, to be fine. Hollywood, he looked for him a lot. Dortch was a lot more in play than what I thought. I did play him some. But I didn't think he'd get that much look. To me, it's just a leverage play. I think he's going to be low owned mainly because of the price. I think people will go elsewhere. Lamar, I think, will be high owned. I think Carr in that game. So people are trying to get into that game. They may go, well, I'll just save the money and go Carr and run it back with my favorite Cardinal or two. So I think that's a good spot for us this week. It's the highest projected point total. It's the only one over 50 points on the slate. So we'll see how ownership shakes out. I think he's going to be low owned. That's why I like him this week. It's a good leverage. Then Lamar, who we'll see. I played him a lot last week. He did fine. Got there with Bateman late. He just wasn't as good as, the Mahomes stuff and even Hurts, that whole game script. So they're at home with Miami. Miami, good performance against the Patriots. $7,400. So I think he'll be a little higher on than Murray, because that's the other reason. I think people will just go, I'll save $100 and go Lamar, who we know can get there with his legs and not pass well. Kyler runs for sure, but he definitely doesn't. I don't think he runs quite as much as Lamar. If for $100 cheap, people may go, I could play naked Lamar and just go that route or be different elsewhere. So those are my two favorites right off the bat. Values this week. I like Wentz. Liked him last week. They're on the road at Detroit. Detroit, kind of what they've been doing. They hang around in football games. They just can't get the W. $5,800, and he looked good. Made some really good throws. The rookie looked good at wide receiver, Dotson. Samuel gets a ton of looks. Both those guys, I think, can do good in that game, and he can spread it around, which I like. And then they still have, McLaurin. So maybe Washington's a little bit better than we thought. I don't want to overreact too much, but for the price, I think you can make a lot of things work there. And I like some Detroit pieces if you want to run it back. Put a little mini stack with Wentz, run it back with Swift, or run it back with Chark, or run it back. I mean, several guys there you can run it back with on the Detroit side. So I don't like that. I don't mind that little mini stack in general. St. Brown, obviously. I kind of like Chark a little better, just price-wise, and he's going to be way less owned. But anyways, whoever you want to do there, I think it's a good – you make a good 4-man or even a 5-man stack out of that game. Trey Lance, obviously a great buy low spot again, $5,700, going up against a team who, are coming off a real high of shocking everybody, getting the win as a 7-point underdog. San Francisco's at home, going to have certainly much better weather than they had last week. And I just think Trey's legs are still somewhat of a threat for at his price. And if he's somewhat low owned, 7-8%, maybe we try to get that. It's a little bit more risky, but I think worth the risk at that price against Seattle at home. Mitchell got hurt. Put a little bit more on Trey this week, probably a little more on Debo. Jeff Wilson will probably get the start. So I don't mind it. $5,700. I like Trey Lance this week. My fade right now is Burrow. I got a feeling a lot of people are going to go heavy on this game, but Dallas D didn't do horrible, right? I mean, they did all right against, Tom Brady. So for $6,600, I still think they'll be able to get pressure. I think Michael will be in that backfield a lot, putting pressure on Burrow. Obviously, we know the offense for Dallas isn't going to be great, but do they try to control the ball also? Let's try to establish a run. Let's get Zeke and Pollard going. Let's take some pressure off of Cooper Rush. Slow down this game. Make it less possessions. All that. I would rather just take my one-off piece, whether it be Mixon, Chase, whoever, Higgins, if he's back from the injury. I think he's going to be in concussion protocol. But whoever it is, I'd rather take the one I like as one-off instead of trying to do a Bengals stack in this scenario, in my opinion. And I think he's going to come with some ownership. The Bengals D is going to be massively owned. $2,200 against Cooper Rush will by far be the highest owned defense, in my opinion, on the slate. So people may, try to go get as many Bengals pieces as they want. But unless a Dallas D just kind of lays down because they're like, oh, season, this sucks, blah, 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 which I just don't see happening. They're pro athletes. I'll pass on the Burrow for now as we sit here on Thursday afternoon. Running back, this will be interesting. I'm really interested to see, just now getting in to listen to other pods and reading content and stuff like that, how people look at Taylor and Kupp this week. Both 9,900. I currently have Taylor getting passed on. I think more will be willing to go to Cooper Kupp especially on DraftKings, which is really all we talk about because of the PPR factor. Maybe they feel a safer floor if they're going there for $9,900. So I like Taylor this week against Jacksonville. They're on the road, all that kind of stuff, but mainly because I think he will get good leverage here. I think he could flirt with single digit 9-10% type deal. It may be there, and it's a big price tag to pay off, but could wind up being a really good tournament play. Maybe you don't want to pay up for that in a 3 max or a certainly not. He may be a good cash play, but I think more people would go Cup for cash, and I don't know if you can get them both in with some good lineups or not. I hadn't looked at that stuff yet, but I like Taylor. I think he'll be lower owned. Swift, I loved a lot last week. Still like him a lot. I like that game in general, Detroit and Washington. I've already talked about Wentz above. 7,000 is a really fair price, I think. I think he'll stay in check a little bit on ownership, mid-teens. I think they want to get him the ball. He got vultured a little bit last week at the goal line, or I think he would have been maybe not priced differently, but much higher owned. I'll take some Swift this week for 7,000. Fournette is probably one of the chalky pieces I am interested in. They go on the road to the Saints. 2.5-point favorites, 6,700 for a guy that clearly looks to be like he's going to get the majority of the work. Goal line, out of the backfield, whatever. I think he's actually underpriced and one of the better points per dollar values on the slate. I do think that comes with ownership, but I would rather pay $1,000 for him and eat some of that chalk than trust the Rams and their running back situation. Because right now everybody's going to be on Henderson. He's the guy. We've seen that with the Rams before. I wouldn't be opposed if you're in one of those big 200,000, 300,000 entry contests this week to play some Akers. We don't know. Akers just go off this week unless we hear something more. But I would rather pay the $1,000 and eat a little bit of Fournette than maybe settle on Henderson, who I think will be the highest owned running back on the slate. Then I like James Conner. I like Kyler a little bit this week. I think Connor could do well against the Raiders. High scoring environment, 6,900. Those are good prices at running back, and the value ones I like are in that area too. That pay. I'm not saying pay down, but you're averaging on the running back. Maybe allows you to go get you a higher price wide receiver, or fit your Lamar or Kyler in. Kyler's the highest priced quarterback, so if I want to go that route, I can't get a whole lot of McCaffrey, Taylor, and all that. Now, Taylor lineups, obviously, I may go with the cheaper quarterback to try to make that work out. My values, Javonte Williams, every week, I don't know how long we're going to be doing this. We talked about this all last year. It just drove me crazy. I remember Ryan and I, almost every pod, it would be my segment on how much they frustrate me. If they would just let him get like 70-30 split, he would just dominate. He's just so good. He looks so good Monday night. I'm going to stay there at 6,500. Playing Houston especially, eventually, they both got tons of catches too. I don't know if that's going to be a thing or not. I'm not too overreacting to that, but I just like everything about Javonte Williams. I'll play him every single week at $6,500 almost blindly. Chase Edmonds on the road to Baltimore, 5,200. I think if you've paid up elsewhere and you're looking for a good salary relief without going just too cheap, I like him a lot. He'll probably get some ownership at that price too, 13-14%, but I don't mind that. And then J.K. Dobbins, watching his interview before the game, he seemed really positive, and they just wanted to be really sure. Now they're back home. Take some pressure off Lamar. Could even get some check down work. As long as he's a full go, I think we will get probably the lowest ownership on him and one of the cheapest. The combo of the two, 1 or 2%, 3%, whatever. That may go up if he's just full go as the week goes on. But say he's single digits and he's 5,300. I really like him as a good sneaky play this week at that price to save some money as well. I already said earlier, my fade of the week right now will be Henderson. I don't want 28% Henderson at $5,700. Wide receivers, Debo, definitely like Debo this week, especially with Mitchell being out. They're going to need to lean on him. We'll see how that works with him and Lance. He's a higher price guy, so $7,800, but still, $2,100 cheaper than Kupp. So I'll take my chances there. I like him, and I could one-off with Debo this week easily. I like Tyreek Hill. You can kind of see some correlated plays in that Miami-Baltimore game. Don't know if I go full stack on it yet, but, Edmonds, Hill, Lamar, Andrews, Lamar, Bateman. Duvernay had a really good game last week. This is probably your typical everybody goes to Duvernay. Especially if Bateman doesn't get that last big catch. So the scoreboard watchers will say, oh, well, they're around the same, where it looked like Duvernay got a ton more looks, but great low spot for Bateman there. But little mini stacks of that Miami-Baltimore game, I don't hate that at all. And Tyreek definitely looked good last week, so he's on my list. CeeDee Lamb. I think most people will just avoid Dallas this week. I don't know that I want a bunch of Dallas, but, $6,900. I don't hate it. I don't think he'll be too high owned. Let's assume Cincinnati can score, which I talked about him earlier. I don't think it's going to be like a 10-3 ball game, but I do think Dallas will try to slow down some. But if Dallas has to get in that passing mode, and that's the script you're kind of looking at, maybe CD gets 8-9 catches. Maybe doesn't do a lot with it, but 9 catches, 80 yards, and a touchdown. All of a sudden, that's looking pretty good. So I like CD. Probably more of a one-off. I could maybe do a correlated 3-man stack, like Pollard, Lamb, Chase, Pollard, Lamb, Mixon, Zeke, Lamb, Mixon, those kind of like a little 3-man out of there. So I'm not getting overexposed to that game because I think it's going to be a slower pace game. So does Vegas, 41.5 game total. But I get some pieces I think could hit. So I don't hate that at all. Values, I'll go to Hollywood, especially in Kyler lineup, $6,200. I think it's a good price for him and some upside there against the Raiders. Probably comes with some ownership, especially in that game. I think that game will be higher owned. So when we get into, how can we get unique stuff like that? That's stuff we'll talk on Sunday morning once we kind of have a better picture of how everything's shaken out. I like Robinson. I think this is a great man. Everybody had Robinson, including me. I had a pretty decent amount of Robinson Thursday night when the Rams got destroyed by the Bills. I'll take Robinson, $5,500 in a game that's one of the higher totals as well. Cup's he won't be too high owned because I do think 99 will scare some way, but he's still going to be pretty decently owned. I don't mind getting Robinson. I like Atlanta a lot. I actually like them in the betting market as well, potentially, especially if that gets to 10.5. Get some Patterson, London, run it back with Robinson. I can go full stack. I don't mind Mariota. Can run around a little bit, but I definitely like Robinson in a bounce back situation. A little concern on Stafford, is what we saw last week norm or just a bad night. We'll see. Vegas obviously thinks more of the bad night, almost 52-point game total, the highest on the slate, but I want some Robinson this week and just get overweight there. Renfro, another kind of spot that I think a lot of people, Devontae got major usage, so can't, talk anybody off that. $8,600, 13% ownership type deal. So relatively low, but man, going to be in a good game script. So he's going to get a lot, but you can that's a piece where I just talked about earlier. You can get into that game and go, all right, I'll just fade Adams and pray it didn't go too big and go Renfro, Waller and run it back with, Kyler and Hollywood, Kyler and Ertz, whatever. If you don't want a full game stack, you can do something like that. Avoid what probably be one of the higher owned pieces in Devontae and still get into that 52-point game total. We'll digest that as we get over the next 3 days and talk Sunday morning. Sunday morning is so crucial for the NFL in general. My fade right now would be Kupp because I'm on the side of I'd rather play Taylor, and it's hard to have Taylor and Kupp in the player pool. $10,000 for the wide receiver spot. I may talk myself completely out of that by the time we get, final articles and everything up. And I want to see the ownership. If everybody's kind of going, I'll do this, not that, and he's going to be relatively, lower percentage because of that, I may try to get both of them in my player pool for sure. But he's the one that I was like, man, I just don't know if I'm paying $9,900 for Cooper Kupp this week, but he continues to hit. I don't want to say I trust because Cooper's so well and has a floor like almost unlike any wide receiver. But I can see a scenario where he doesn't get involved, or they try to get everybody else involved, And where I don't see, I think Taylor's going to get his. It's just a matter of how much does he get. He's going to get his carries for sure. Gets involved a little bit out of the backfield. So that was my only thinking on the potential there. If I was choosing between one of the $9,900 guys, I lean more towards Kupp. We will go to tight ends next. All right, click on over here. Pitts, rinse and repeat for me. I should probably be a while before I don't play Pitts, and that I obviously love him in that game atmosphere with the Rams. I think he can make some mini stacks or full stacks, like I mentioned earlier. Mariota, London, Pitts, run it back with Robinson, and if you want Henderson, I guess that's fine. I'm interested to try to see how much can we get out of that. Is Akers in the doghouse? Was he hurt? What's going on there? I would love to be able to play Akers somewhat confidently, especially in tournaments this week. But I like Pitts. I'll be there. Good price. I like Waller. I just mentioned that earlier with Renfro, $5,600. I have him 6-7%. I like that a lot. Value can mean dollars or ownership percentage. I have Ertz around 2 to 3%. And so at $4,500 with this, which isn't just crazy expensive, I do like him. Low ownership, relatively good price in that game atmosphere. I'm trying to get as much in as possible right now with the Cardinals and Raiders. Fade right now would be Albert O. It's $3,700. I got him as the highest owned potentially right now. I can go elsewhere this week. I don't need a cheap tight end that's going to be that high owned. I'll be different on something like that. Defenses, and you hear similar from the Bengals on this in a second. I like the Broncos, $3,800 against the Texans. I think they can get pressure. I think they'll probably try to do that a lot more this week after last week's showing. 10-point home, favorites. Get Davis Mills throwing the ball. That could lead to Denver, getting some points. 3,800 is not horrible. I know most people try to get down in the twos, and I get it, but they're ones that, I have some value plays as well. But them and the Rams are the two I like if I'm going to try to pay up. Rams $4,000. Mariota can do well, but he could turn the ball over, and they can definitely get pressure. The biggest concern for the Falcons coming into the year was the O-line. So if you're trying to build different scripts, and maybe you go, well, the Rams, no one's going to play them. They didn't look just great last week. I don't mind playing them with Mariota if you're going to go that route. Mariota could throw a pick six and still do well with his legs, stuff like that. $4,000, no one's going to be on him. Maybe a potential good bounce back play. I don't know how much I'll have of that. I definitely like the Broncos more for $200 less. My value plays, I like the Patriots, $2,900. Defense wasn't horrible last week. It was really, they just couldn't score. Trubisky, I like anybody going up against Trubisky most weeks. The Pittsburgh did not look good. Excuse me. In general, they just got away with a bunch of turnovers and sacks and stuff. So for that cheap, no one's really going to be on the Patriots because there's so much options in that low 2,000 range. I don't mind them this week. And then my next one's the Jaguars. Now I think the Jags is a pivot off of their $2,300. A pivot off of the Bengals and the Jets, because I think those two will be two of the highest owned Ds. Jets playing Cleveland, and then Bengals obviously playing Dallas. They're going to be the highest. But I think the Jaguars, they won't rate out well, but if you wanted to kind of pivot and go, well, what if Matt Ryan just, what if this is a competitive game and Ryan does have to throw some? Could they get some sacks? Could they get a turnover or two? I'd probably rather pay up for the Patriots, but, I think that's a decent pivot option to the Jets, Bengals chalk there at the defense. Gut feel plays of the week for me. I like Cordell Patterson, $6,000. Played him a lot last week, did well. Kareem Hunt, and Chubb looked good, but Hunt looked good as well. I know it's tough, but they're going to be at home against the Jets. I think with Brissett at quarterback, they're going to try to run the ball as much as possible. We saw him already check down to Hunt many times. And I don't think Hunt's going to be more than 3% owned at 6,600. I think people will just go, I don't want that shared backfield deal for that much. I'll just go elsewhere. So maybe a great leverage spot. You had to pay up for it a little bit, and it's a little risky, but in a big tournament, I think he's a good play. I already mentioned Cam Akers. Unless we hear something super negative, I think that's a great tournament play, large field play, $5,600. Julio, $5,500. I like that price with Brady. He'll be moderately owned, 7, 8, 9%, something like that. I don't mind that at all. interesting to see how that whole thing looks in general with the Tampa Bay. I mean, they looked okay, but I kind of felt like the perception was like I know they dominated Dallas, obviously beating them 19-3, but I wasn't just blown away by much there. Fournette's my favorite player out of the situation, but I don't mind Julio, especially go Fournette, Julio, run it back with, Olave or someone like that, mini correlated stack. I don't mind that either. Zay Jones, man, Trevor looked at him a lot last week. I watched a lot of that game. I'll watch every game eventually with the quick speed up version, but $4,300, probably low owned. I don't mind that at all. Maybe if you're doing some correlated stacks there, you go to Jonathan Taylor, maybe Pittman, maybe just go Taylor and come back with like Zay Jones and Etienne or something like that. So I don't hate that either. My favorite stacks right now, I like Kyler, Hollywood, Ertz, and Dortch. Mix and match there. All these are going to be mix and match. Lamar, Andrews, Bateman, Dobbins, Duvernay, mix and match there. Wentz, Dotson, Samuel, and McLaurin, mix and match there. I would probably have 2 wide receivers with Wentz because you got to figure if he gets there, you think 2 go off. Or the running back, I don't mind Gibson. Didn't really mention him. Where's he? Yeah, I got him. He's ranked 11th for me right now on the week. $6,200. So I don't mind that. Some mini correlated stacks. I mentioned a lot through the pod, but I like Mixon Lamb, Connor with Adams or Waller, Hunt or Chubb with Elijah Moore. I still love Elijah Moore. You guys know that for a while now. Played him last week. I'll play him again this week. And then Robinson with London or Pitts. I think those are all, that's a good 2-3 man correlated as well. Sneaky stat game for me right now. And I have this projected as the 6th highest owned game. So right in the middle would be Washington, Detroit. You can kind of pick up on that. I think you can mix and match out of that game very well and be a little bit different than the field, especially large field tournaments. Favorite against the spread, whether you're playing Circa, Super Contest, your own thing, whatever. I like Washington plus 2.5 and Cardinals plus 5.5. Upset of the week, probably Washington. But I also think the Steelers or Saints could be probably more the Saints at home. I could see a sneaky win against that Bucs team. I'm not as high on the Bucs as everybody. They're not bad by no means. They're still in the top of my power ranking and stuff, but I could see that being a sneaky upset. Probably feel that more than Pittsburgh over New England, but Pittsburgh got home too. Always tough to play them at home. The Patriots, can they get anything going? That'll be the big deal. Let's see where we're at. Survivor picks. I think we go with the bounce back week. If you didn't get burned by them last week, with the Broncos or the Rams. I mean, probably like Denver a little more. Excuse me. Russell's debut at home. They're going to be hungry. Let's bounce back. Should have won that game. Good team coming in to take advantage of that against Texans. So either one of those two, I think would be good picks this week. If you were burned by them, obviously you're dead. But if I think you go that route, I don't think you get too. I mean, maybe San Francisco at home against Seattle, but we don't. That's just too much unknown. We don't know how that's going to look in 5 weeks. Is that going to look like a good spot? Cleveland at home against the Jets, maybe. But I just think I would stick to Rams or Broncos if you're still alive. Underdog, Prize Picks, link is in the description for both. Dollar for dollar match. GUP, G-U-P is the code. Up to $100 there. Love both those sites. Got plenty going on there. They have daily contests for all kinds of sports, especially football. PGA, I need to see if I think they did have some PGA stuff. Yeah, they did, because I put one out in the Slack channel this morning. Prize Picks did for sure. I'm not sure on Underdog. I'll check that. But go check out both those sites. Bunch of good stuff going on. My plays I release here, and then I give them nightly, whether it be PGA, day of game for NFL, if I add anything like that, or do showdown stuff. Sometimes I'll add some picks there. But for this week, main slate week, my pick 'em for Underdog, I'm going to go Barkley over 108.5 total yards. Winston plus 50.5 passing yards over Brady. So all that is if Brady has 300 and Winston has 270, Winston wins that side. Elijah Moore over 10.45 fantasy points. That's my three 3 pick 'em, pay 6 extra money. On Prize Picks, my play, I like Herbert, so hopefully you get to see that tonight. Over the 285.5. I also like Winston over 230.5. I like AJ Dillon over 45.5 rushing yards. I like Lamar over 24 points, and I like Javonte Williams over 16 points. So mix and match those as you please. As I mentioned, Coin gets you 20% off any package, locked in for life. As long as you stay a member, you get 7-day free trial with that. I will have the Audible out. I'll probably ping the Slack again to see what time they think is best. Last week I was forced into the time because I was coming back from the wedding. But this week, been going at 10 o'clock Eastern, about 30 minutes, almost right up. What's that? Let's say that would be 10, 9. So, it still leaves a couple hours to do your building and stuff like that. And then what I do is once inactives are announced, I update any of the articles. But I like to talk through everything. I don't want to wait till, hour and a half, get the inactives, then try to do the chat, then try to build. I think it's pushing a little too much. So been going 10 Eastern, so probably somewhere around there. 10:30 Eastern is when we'll do it. College football, the read option with Bobby Burger will be out tomorrow. PayPal, just in case now that we're on football season, I've been making this announcement a lot on PGA. If you are a PayPal, so you use PayPal to pay for your subscription, I sent out an email to everybody. I've sent out multiple emails to everybody that was a PayPal subscriber. When your subscription comes up, it will not renew. We stopped using PayPal in March. We went to one vendor, one processor. What we've been doing is we send you a personalized code to your email to lock in your price that you had through your PayPal subscription. So you're not going to lose anything. You just have to go sign back up on the site through our processor that we have now with any credit, debit card, stuff like that. If you didn't get that email or you don't know where it's at or it went to spam or whatever and you're a PayPal subscriber, shoot me a message on Twitter or email me at support@gupscorner.com or in the Slack channel. If you're still in there, we'll get you hooked up and figured out there. I will announce all the winners next week on both pods. For the big, NFL kickoff type stuff. We got Master stuff, PGA stuff. We'll do some DFS dollars, all that kind of stuff. So get that comment in today. They'll still get you into the drawing, and we'll pull all that out for next week. Hope you guys have a great rest of your Thursday. Got a good game tonight to watch. Looking forward to another big weekend of NFL. We got PGA going today, Live tomorrow. Lots going on this weekend. NASCAR's, I think they're in the playoffs. I think they got 6 or 7 weeks left, something like that. NBA around the corner. Lots going on there. Appreciate you guys watching, and we'll talk to you soon.